Out of all the breathtaking sights of Barcelona, there's one that literally towers over the rest, the otherworldly Sagrada Familia. Construction for this architectural masterpiece began over 150 years ago, and is finally slated to be completed in 2026. If you're planning a trip to Barcelona, the Sagrada Familia will want to be at the top of your itinerary alongside Gaudí's other masterpieces. But be sure to reserve tickets online ahead of time, as lines for this majestic cathedral can be up to 3 to 4 hours long. The architect behind this gem, which is still not completed, is none other than Antoni Gaudí. Gaudí has world-renowned masterpieces spread throughout Barcelona, although none have quite an interesting background like La Sagrada Familia. While 150 years is certainly a long time to build something, think about this: when La Sagrada Familia is completed, it will have taken longer to build than the Egyptian pyramids, and only 50 years less than the Great Wall of China. That's pretty amazing. During the early days of La Sagrada Familia's construction, Gaudí built a school on the site called the Sagrada Familia Schools building. The school was built for the children of construction workers to attend while their fathers spent their days and nights building one of the most magnificent structures in all of Europe. Designed in 1909, the school is now the site of an exhibition on the Sagrada Familia. Gaudí seems to have been a very thoughtful man. Back when construction began in the late 1800s, there were no computers or digital animation to rely on for the project. In the past, builders had to rely on paper sketches to correctly put together this massive structure. However, thanks to the invention of computers in the mid-20th century, the progress sped up rapidly. Though a long ways from being completed, La Sagrada Familia was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984. It received the designation mostly because of its unique architecture and Gaudí's ability to create something so innovative and artistic. This is not a surprise, however. La Sagrada Familia is one of 7 buildings by Gaudí that fall under this category. When construction first began on La Sagrada Familia, it was understood to be a simple Roman Catholic church. Later on, it was designated as a cathedral, and then in 2010, Pope Benedict XVI declared it a basilica. For those who might not be familiar with the distinction, a cathedral is the seat of a bishop, so it turned out to be a great honor for the building. When La Sagrada Familia is completed, it will have 18 towers. 12 of the towers will represent the apostles, 4 of them will represent the evangelists, 1 will be designated for the Virgin Mary, and of course the last one, the highest one in the middle, will represent Jesus Christ. However, right now there are only 8 towers. La Sagrada Familia is home to the tomb of Antoni Gaudí, who was unfortunately killed a few days after being hit by a tram. Located in the underground level of the building, visitors can come see the tomb for themselves. The tomb is surrounded by 4 chapels, each dedicated to a different figure. Gaudí's tomb is held in the chapel dedicated to the El Carmen Virgin. In 1936, in the midst of the Spanish Civil War, a group of anarchists broke into the Sagrada Familia and set fire to the crypt. Though many important materials involving the construction were lost, a few were saved. During this period in history, the entire construction of the building was extremely slow, due to obvious reasons. There are 3 facades at La Sagrada Familia, and the Nativity facade was completed by Gaudí himself. The Passion facade and the Glory facade were built much later, and when the sculptures of Christ on the crucifix were added to the Passion facade by Josep Maria Subirachs, many people argued that they were too abstract and took away from Gaudí's style and vision as an artist and architect. Although most cathedrals or religious establishments have straight structures, Gaudí felt that things should be built to resemble nature. Gaudí would hang a weighted string from the ceiling to see how natural arches would form, and designed La Sagrada Familia's interior based on what he saw. When La Sagrada Familia is completed, it will be tallest religious building in all of Europe. The central tower in the middle will reach 170 meters tall. Despite having a powerful height, Gaudí believed that nothing man-made should ever be higher than God's work. It is no coincidence that the ultimate height will be 1 meter less than Montjuic, the mountain in Barcelona, which is also the city's highest point. The fact that there are elevators inside isn't that amazing, but when you look at how thin the towers are, you might wonder how that works. Even though they aren't magic glass elevators that Willy Wonka created, they do allow visitors to see the lowest and highest parts of the structure. Of course, once you get out of the elevators, you'll have to navigate through skinny walkways and stairs to get to the towers, where you can see gorgeous views of the city. There's tons of symbolism in each part of Gaudí's structure. Aside from the religious symbols, there are two you should look out for. First, the interior pillars actually resemble trees, and when you look up at them their shapes constantly change, as real trees appear to do. There is also a tortoise and turtle holding up these pillars, representing both the earth and the sea. The completion date for La Sagrada Familia is 2026. A whopping 144 years since the beginning of construction and a mere 100 years after Gaudí's death in 1926. However, this is the scheduled year for all architectural work on the basilica to be completed. There is still a lot of work left to be done on the temple, for instance, the carving and the sculptural elements of the glory facade. When Gaudí took over the project from Ver, he significantly changed the building's design, both structurally and decoratively. He eliminated the main staircase and replacing it with spiral staircases, opening up the main floor space. The project had always been large in scale, but Gaudí took that to the extreme, creating a design with 5 naves, central areas, 12 bell towers and 3 facades. Gaudí wanted it to be like a huge stone Bible, telling the stories of Jesus and the Christian faith. The design was also very Gaudí-esque in design, taking many cues from nature. He eliminated any unnatural straight lines. Inside, the columns were designed to look like trees to give the allure of being deep in a forest. Despite dedicating the latter part of his life to the project, Gaudí died long before the building was complete. He was injured by a passing tram as he made his daily commute to the church. It's estimated that only 15 to 25% of the building was complete at the time of his death. He was buried in the crypt of the Sagrada Familia 2 days later. The only other person to be buried in the building is Josep Maria Bocabella, the bookseller who originally came up with the idea. During the Spanish Civil War in 1936, parts of the building were destroyed, but an even bigger blow was when the workshop was destroyed containing Gaudí's models. Of course, this was many years after Gaudí's death, so it wasn't as simple as asking him to recreate them. The building is now based on reconstructions of Gaudí's design. Gaudí's original intention had been to use the stone from nearby Montjuic for the building, however these quarries eventually became exhausted, so the builders had to look elsewhere. They eventually settled on sandstone from Brinscall Quarry, near Chorley in the north of England as a suitable replacement. Once the giant cross has been added to the top, the height of the building will be 172.5 meters. A little known fact is that this height was specifically chosen by Gaudí as he wanted it to be taller than all of the other buildings in the city, but not taller than nearby hill Montjuic, 184.8 meters tall. Gaudí did not think that his creation should be taller than God's. Once complete, the Sagrada Familia will become the tallest church in the world, knocking Germany's 162 meters high Elm Cathedral off the top spot.